actually. Okay, so what got you interested in coaching?
Um, well, I am very committed to Overwatch. For the last like 3, 4 years, I've wanted to at least go semi-pro.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Gaming and playing professionally is something like been a big dream kind of mine.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and so like I guess 5 years ago, first time I hit like 2400, top 500 kind of stuff, and like I got that taste for it. Um, and it's just ever since then I've kind of plateaued. I've dropped a bit, and then I grind hard for a season and get back up there, and then I fall back down. But like my consistency, particularly with my mechanics, is very lackluster. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess there's also a lot of times when I'm just not sure how to get better because for as long as I've been playing Overwatch, almost since launch, I just watch better players and try to mimic my gameplay, see what they're doing better than I am, and kind of copy that or see why they're doing it that way, and then kind of improve on myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting a lot harder. It's gotten a lot harder to do that, immediately because there's still a decent margin where I can be improving, but it's very hard to find and then implement in every scenario because a lot of it is situational, right? Like
Right.
situational plays.
Right.
And so I'm struggling to get like that bit more better that I need to be to actually uh be able to play at that level.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. That makes sense. Um, I mean, it's tough. I mean, you're a 0.1% player as it is. So finding like that extra little bit to push. Um, Long-term goal, non-bench contenders team, top 100. I'm looking at your form here.
Yeah,
That's
I
tough.
I I, I hit top 100 again. So
Oh, nice. Congrats. Congrats. So, I mean, it gets the margin of error gets tighter and tighter and tighter. I think that's
yeah.
where like having good fundamentals is really helpful because you talked about like having so many things are so situational, but what isn't situational is fundamentals. And a lot of those situational things are an interpretation of the fundamentals in a given circumstance. In other words, if I play Ryan and I know that I like to hit people with my hammer, clearing out space on targets that are most fragile to my hammer, I then therefore can interpret that me pinning on high ground is good here because I can reach squishies easier on this particular point because their tank is on the low ground and my supports can see me, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Obviously kind of a more basic example, but it's kind of like using that basic, you can kind of then interpret that. I mean, I know that's what helps me play the game a lot because I play the game like not at all, but I'm able to maintain around master's level on most heroes just because I know the game. So even if I'm not very good at doing what I need to do and my mechanics are pretty bad, I could just always be thinking about like what are the fundamentals of this game and then try to interpret them with a hero, and that helps me a lot. So for you, it might be maybe working at those fundamentals. I don't know. I mean, who knows what your biggest roadblock is? Because the trouble with getting as good as you are already is that it's like the princess and the pea. A pebble can feel like a boulder when it comes down to the 0.1%, right? It
Yeah.
might not be. It might be that you have some big stuff that big issues, but it could also be that you're already really, 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 really good at the game, but just the smallest little mistake or smallest couple of errors are what's preventing you from being, that much better. And also the other problem too is that you're at a position as well where motivation is a big, big, big issue because every player has issues with motivation. Uh, but the level of commitment to get to where you're aiming is so much higher than the average like plat wanting to reach grandmaster that it's percentage
Yeah.
wise could be like, again, princess and the pea, just a small lack of motivation can really hurt you, right? Or a
Mhm.
small goof up or being inefficient with your time or getting tilted or frustrated, it could be that much more of an issue. It's a very fragile spot. So okay, so anything additional to know? I believe a large part of my inconsistency comes from my severe OCD. So talk to me about that.
Yeah, I have it pretty bad. Um, so like, I mean, there's a lot of like routine. Routine is not a problem for me because everything is routine. I have to do the same. I have the same kind of ritual to get
Mm-hmm.
into playing every day. Like
Mm-hmm.
probably one of the best players for kind of the ritual because I have to do everything the same way.
Mm-hmm.
It's like take a shower, do general hygiene. Everything in my desk is clear, clean,
Mm-hmm.
alcohol, sanitize, whatever. Um, like I go through the same kind of warm up and kind of just everything. Get my mindset on playing Overwatch.
Okay.
Um, OCD, why it's a problem for me is almost too much routine. Um, and I mentioned earlier, it's my mechanics that I specifically have a problem, or like I think is one of the biggest issues with me.
Mm-hmm.
It it's yeah, it's very like highly inconsistent. I go maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks at most, where I feel comfortable with my aim. Like I'm not aiming very like extremely well or anything,
Mm-hmm.
and I can miss a lot of shots, but I'm comfortable with my aim. Like I understand that
Is
if
this
I
on tank?
yes, this is on
Okay,
tank.
continue.
Um, and so like I feel comfortable with my aim. I feel like I'm hitting shots I should be hitting. I'm missing shots that, admittedly I should be missing, or they're just
Right.
difficult shots. And then I'll go for like after those 2 week periods, one day it'll just shut off. Everything's the same, sit in the same position, aim, same routine, everything, same, sleep schedule, whatever. I know my sleep's bad, but same sleep schedule. Um, and then it just turns off, and I can't get comfortable with my aim anymore. I'm missing shots, and then I feel bad, and so I compromise my own play to kind of make up for me not being able to hit the shots I should be hitting, and so I'm playing bad in turn, and it's very very frustrating and discouraging when I kind of get in that pattern because I know I'm not able to push, I'm not able to climb with this. It's just I'm playing so significantly worse than I was before. It's not a mentality thing. It's just, or I don't know if it's in my head or not. But I cannot aim, and then
Mm-hmm.
one day it'll turn back on. I can aim again, and then I can climb again.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I don't know if that's fixable. Uh, is the
Mm-hmm.
problem.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and
So,
it might not be, but
sorry for interrupting. Is I feel like everybody knows what OCD is, but not really. So I'm not going to make any assumptions here. What is OCD specifically? Like the things that you struggle with. Just make sure I
um,
understand.
yeah, yeah. Oh, it's obsessive compulsive disorder,
Right.
right?
Right.
So there's a lot of it varies from people from person to person. My dad had it really bad when he was my age as well. He still does. It's like I have certain uh, habits or things that I need to do in a certain order, or I need to do a certain amount of times. Not specifically, and for my case, it's not specifically. It's not always a certain amount of times. It's like until it feels right. So like it could be closing a door a certain way, walking down this like walking outside to my vehicle to go to work or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I need to step on. I need to feel like my steps. Not can't step on here. I have to step this certain way.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't do it that correctly, I need to go back and do it again and again and again. And it gets pretty frustrating, especially with school, because I write a paper in math and then it's like, oh, this doesn't feel right. I have to erase it, redo it. Um, it's that kind of thing. And it's
So
like
it's like
also
an obsessive. No, no. Continue. Sorry, I want to finish your
no, no,
thought.
and it's also a lot of it's not only physical with me. It's also mental. So I have a lot of like uh thoughts that I need to run through in my head,
Yeah.
kind of ritualistically. Like whenever I don't know, say I'm getting like standing up after getting out of bed. I need to think a certain uh, path of thoughts and like
Mm-hmm.
a bunch of different categories to kind of secure those categories for the day. I don't. Okay, that sounds weird. What it means is like if I stand up and I think a thought that I don't like, then I gotta sit back down and kind of re go through those thoughts. So like in every category, say like a category is furniture, sports, uh, whatever, I kind of think a good thought in each of those categories first so that a bad thought doesn't first come in those categories. It doesn't make sense. It's not intuitive, but I need to do that.
Makes
Because
sense.
if I think a bad thought first in that category, then it kind of ruins that category for me. then I feel like I'm going to be cursed in that, like whenever I think of that category, I'm going to think of the bad thought, right?
Right.
So I need to think the good thought first so that when I think of that category, I don't have that kind of poison.
Yes, I see what you're saying. Does it feel like a need for a sense of control over your thoughts and things in your environment?
Yes, very much so. And it's also like a fear of like the physical stuff, right? If I don't tap something a certain amount of times, if it doesn't feel right when I'm moving my hand, if it felt weird, then if I don't redo it, if I don't get it right, then my hand is not going to work the same way anymore. It's going to always
Right.
be that weird. So it's just I need to get everything
So it's like
to
controlling
do
your
it.
environment, but also like controlling your thought patterns to be in the order that you want them to be.
Yeah, because it's also like a fear of if I don't think this certain way, then my brain's going to be broken, right? And
Right,
then I'm not
right,
going to
right,
think
right,
well enough.
right.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's
Now,
it's a hassle.
well, yeah, I can imagine. Let me try and extrapolate a little bit here. Let me know if I'm way off. Is your struggle with inconsistency a fear or a frustration with a lack of control? In other words, because the inconsistency is not something that you're able to directly manipulate, it feels like something that you cannot control, and therefore is very frustrating.
Sure, but I think that's the case for most people, right? If
It
you can't
is.
control how well you're playing, then you feel
It
very
is.
discouraged.
It is. But I think my question would be: is if it's for everybody, it's frustrating, but for you, it might be more disruptive because of your OCD, and therefore, it's because it's something that you can't control. It's extra frustrating.
Sure, that may be true because, like I was saying, like if I know I'm not aiming well, or if I know I'm not doing this correctly, then it affects everything else.
Because
Because
you
I'm
can't
like,
fix that, right? You
right,
can't go, I'm now going to aim better. Like
it's a little bit
it's
of a yeah.
go ahead.
So yeah, it's a little bit of a like a hyperfixation at that point. If I know this
Right.
is an issue that I can't solve, yeah,
Right. Right. Yeah, I mean it's tough because it is something that is very inconsistent. Just the nature of it, inconsistency means that it's going to be happening at often whenever it wants to happen. You know, you're not a robot, and so therefore your body, even if it's just physical stuff, right? It could be you didn't sleep as well, or your hands are a little bit shakier. That you never know what the issue may be. Everybody deals with it, even Overwatch League players. So it my concern or my question is it might be that it's not the inconsistency that's the problem. It might be that your response to the inconsistency is worse than the average person, so you make the inconsistency a bigger issue than it usually is.
Hmm.
That's what I'm wondering.
Okay.
Because if you have inconsistency with your mechanics and it becomes a big fixation or a big problem, then it doesn't just run its course like the common cold and go away. It might be something that you extend in terms of duration, or you make worse with you trying to fix it or work around it in an unproductive way.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I have worked with players that are OCD necessarily, but that are really hard on themselves. So when they have bad mechanical days, it's usually it had a tendency to snowball pretty badly with them, where it would be not the start of a little valley, which everybody deals with, but a big ditch, right? Where they would keep digging, and they'd spiral out of control because of one bad day, right?
Yep.
Do you feel that's the case with you, or not as much? Maybe not to that extreme, but do you feel that your response to it is a problem as much as the problem itself?
Maybe. Like I don't know comparatively to
Yeah,
other
that's true.
players.
That's true.
Um,
That's true. It might
it's
not be
more,
something productive even to compare anyway, but just something to think about.
yeah, it's more of I've kind of shifted from being frustrated to kind of not depressed, but like crushed. Like
Yeah.
it's like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
well, I guess I can't aim anymore. Well,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
unlucky. I guess I'll wait
Yeah.
until I can again.
Yeah. But you've been through those cycles and you know what comes back. So maybe
I
for
don't know.
you,
Yeah.
well, we'll go ahead.
I don't know when it comes back though, is the thing. It's not like, oh,
Sure.
I know in 2 weeks I'm gonna have it back, so I can kind of
Well,
work around that. It's just
it's like a
I don't know.
disease, right? It's like a sickness. You don't know when you're going to get better. You can do things to help you get better, but honestly, when you're sick, right? That's just how it is. So maybe something that might be helpful for you is to have a plan. You mentioned it a little bit earlier, about how you play differently in these things. Maybe not so much that, but okay, when days where or periods of time where my mechanics dip, install your backup operating system and have a plan for during that period of time, right? So, okay, this is a bad mechanics day. I'm still going to make this a productive day by having my emphasis and my focus on X. It's a bad aim day. Okay, these are the days where I put a lot of emphasis on my ultimate usage, my ultimate timing. And so it's still productive towards my end goal, top 100 consistently, non-bench contenders, and so on. Yeah. But it's still productive even if my mechanics aren't performing up to snuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that makes sense. I've thought a little similarly to that, but it's like, how can I play competitive if I know I'm going to lose these games just because it's not there?
But you don't, right? You don't know that you're going to lose those games. If you put extra emphasis on other things that are important in the game besides just your mechanics, that's still going to be beneficial towards you playing well. And even if you don't play as well as you normally do, remember, you're not playing in a tournament, right? You're not competing for an Overwatch League starting position. You're playing ranked. So even if during your bad mechanic days, you are losing games, you're still progressing as a whole, right? Like think of it like a graph. You go up and down, up and down, up and down, but the general trend is still moving forward. And instead of using your down phases as unproductive, wasted time that you just have to survive, you still have to survive it. It's still a downtrend, but you're still progressing overall as a player. Your bad days get less and less bad, and it's not wasted time.
Sure. Okay.
I think that can be a productive way of doing it. And don't treat it like, oh, these are my bad mechanics days, I have to play differently. No. Just have a focus on something other than your mechanics during those days. Don't waste that time. Because it's like when you get sick, the worst thing that you could do is be like, crap, I can't do anything productive. I had all these plans. You'll be like, okay, well, what can I do what can I do while I'm sick? So that these days aren't wasted. Maybe catch up when you're reading some books, or you catch up on a couple of movies that you've been wanting to watch, or you learn a new board game or something. Like, you don't waste that time. So was it as useful and as efficient as not being sick? No, but you still used it, right? You still used that time. That's, I guess, the goal. Because I think your response is going to be very important to that, not only to make sure that these sickness periods of bad mechanics don't last as long, hopefully, but that also we're not wasting that time and getting all upset over it, because it's not controllable, sadly. I wish I could change it now. Improving your sleep, if that's something that you're able to improve down the road, that will help a little bit, but everybody deals with this. Everybody. The greatest players of all, they all deal with it. I mean, I've been in scrims with these guys. They are not always godly, So yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah. No. That's helpful.
Okay, I would try that. I would definitely try that, and obviously that's why we're here too, to give you some things to work at. Okay.
Sure.
I want to find a clear way to improve further as a player. I've learned by watching better players. What's your training schedule in general right now? And most people, I have to caveat, not a training schedule, just how much you play. Okay, you probably have a training schedule. So what do you got?
Yeah. It's gotten a little bit wonky. It's because I'm both working and in school, and I'm trying to play Overwatch a ton.
You're crazy.
Yeah, so I've gone through a lot of different kind of schedules to try to fix my aim. I've tried caffeine, different warm up routines, different bought a new chair, new desk, new mouse pad, sensitivities, crosshairs, aim trainers, different warm up things. I tried everything. It doesn't really work right now. Nope. It just doesn't work. And I've given them proper time to kind of settle and see if it's having an effect. But nothing.
Yep.
Right now it's I come on, I play a few games of quick play and on DPS role, and then I'm good to go. Then I play competitive.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long do you play in ranked?
A long time.
Average week.
If it's a day that I try to play every day, but it's not possible every time. If I have a test I need to study or whatever.
Sure.
But if I have time, I try to play at least 4 hours. On longer days, I go 10 to 12.
Okay. Okay.
I played quite a bit.
Okay. Okay. Um, I would say 4 hours, 5 hours would be my cap when you can. I give you the analogy of working out. A lot of new players, you're not a new player, but will go to the gym and they will work out for 3 hours, 4 hours at a time. And then that unfortunately compromises your ability to give full effort the next day and the day after that, right? So when you're going for these 10 to 12 hour sessions, unless you're going, hey, I played 3 or 4 hours of competitive, then I'm screwing around in quick play afterwards with friends and off rolling, that's fine because you're not really giving effort. But if you're
Mhm.
going full out, especially with your sleep schedule, especially with your work and school schedule throughout the week, 10 to 12 hours of competitive is crazy.
Yeah,
Crazy. Have you
yeah.
ever watched the Toronto Defiant players play ranked?
I've not, no.
Okay. It's a good experience. They troll. They've just played 4 hours of scrims, right? Plus, I'm sure a little bit of review as well. When they get into ranked, they're just having a good time. They're not even in voice half the time.
Is this
That's
on YouTube or something?
just when they Twitch stream, like
Okay.
Majid, Sam, Ultraviolet, OG. They're just having a good time, right? Most ranked players are like that, right?
Yeah.
So I mean that's kind of what you should be doing as well. Where ranked is your scrims, right? At least the first 4 hours are. But then after that, if you're continuing to play, there needs to be a very clear segregation from how you play when you have 4 hours of focus and when you don't. Deliberate
Mhm.
practice. Your first 3 to 4 hours are the most valuable, most important time of your training. Everything else after that is just fluff. And the danger is if you try to push too hard beyond that, you're not going to be able to focus as hard. And you're also going to be burning the candle on both ends, so to speak. And you're going to be burning, might be harder to give that same level of energy tomorrow. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So I'm not saying don't play for 10, 12 hours on an off day, but just play for fun. Play the first several hours as hard as you can, really focus, give yourself goals, take some short breaks, keep the energy high, keep the focus high, and then just chill. Just chill. It's just not possible to go harder than that. You It's even like that with work, right? Like I find when I coach like 3 or 4 sessions back to back to back, I'm exhausted, right? I'm very tired, right? I
Yep.
will still work. I will edit and answer messages, but I can't do any like brain work, right? If I try to think about new ideas or do some extra coaching, I can see the quality of coaching like dip a little bit, even if I really try. Um, and then if I keep forcing myself to do that over the course of the week, the quality in coaching dips lower and lower and lower and lower. And I noticed that like if I do that for like 5 or 6 days in a row, my first 1 or 2 sessions, I'm already tired. So same thing goes with you with your play because it's hard work, especially if you're already working and doing school at the same time. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I would aim for. Play every day if you can, like you said. If you can't, it's fine, but aim for that 4 hour rule of deliberate, specific focus practice and specific goals. I would also I probably wouldn't warm up with quick play either. I would warm up with quick play if you're gonna do that, and but play tank. To be honest with you, you might like you don't need soldier aim to play Winston.
Uh,
You know,
it, for me, it helps. I play cast because hit
sure.
scans warm up, like just get my
If
aim so I
sure,
can feel comfortable with my
sure,
aim walking
sure.
into
Then
it.
if it's what makes you feel warm and comfortable, then that's the most important part of warm up. Then roll with it.
Okay.
Totally fine with me. Okay. Um, Sigmund Winston Diva, mechanics consistency. Sleep is definitely on the lower end. I'm sure that's something that you're aware of and probably working around. Um,
Yep.
just I'm going to be the extra shrieking voice. If you can improve that even a little bit, that will be helpful.
For sure. Yeah.
I don't have anything else. What do you feel somebody back from improving mechanics and consistency? We've talked a little bit about that. We talked about the game plan that you need to work around that. It will not be a mouse pad. It will not be your sensitivity. In fact, those will actually be bad things to do. I knew a player that was constantly changing their EDPI every single time that they felt like they were not having a day mechanically, and that had a predictable problem. It just exacerbated the issue and shifted attention into more of what I need to be doing, what I need to be doing, instead of just embracing it.
Yep.
So
I used to do that. I've actually just stopped caring and
good,
just put it on one
good,
like that
good.
I've had forever. I don't think I
Mouse,
aim the best on this, but I
good,
just don't care. I can't be
good,
bothered.
good. Same thing with your gaming chair and your setup and everything. There's just nothing you can really do. As long as it's good enough, then that's all that you need to worry about. For you, it needs to be focusing more on your response to the inconsistent mechanics rather than the inconsistent mechanics itself.
Mm.
Okay, I don't have any other questions. Do you have any other questions?
Um, okay, not strictly on topic.
Sure, of
I don't know
course.
if this is like something that you advise on, but like if I were to want to get on, because I'm nearing the area where I want to get top 100,
Hmm.
top maybe top 50 now, because top 100 was too easy. Like top 50 consistently, and then I want to join like a top OD team,
Yep.
just kind of put my foot and shoe in the door, right?
Yeah.
Like like how would you recommend going about that? Do you want like should I be like couple seasons top 50 and try to do that, or should I do it
No, no,
now,
no.
or
You
I
could if you want to do it now, you could. You're already at a higher enough rank where you could find semi-serious teams. And the best thing about this is the analogy with consistency is the exact same. You need to expect chaos and kind of goofiness when you join a team, which means that you might be team hopping every month or so for a little bit. That's normal.
Hmm,
Um, Go ahead.
I asked because I'm a little bit worried because I've joined like GM teams before, like a two before,
Yep,
and it's just like I'm worried because if I don't get my level of play up to the level I want first, then I fear I'm going to stagnate by focusing on team play too much and not improving by myself. That's what I found
I understand
happened a
what you're saying.
lot. Yeah, that's what I found happened a lot on my other teams, where either not everyone else on my team is as committed as I am, or I'm just so focused on playing on the team, I'm not getting better as myself. And
I see
so,
what you're saying.
yeah,
How
that's why
often were you scrimmaging?
probably 2, 3 times a week.
That's still plenty of time for your own self development outside of that.
Okay.
So what you would do is you would give attention to the team when you can, but then you focus on your own self improvement if that is an issue. Because I did a lot of team hopping early in my career for that exact same reason. Some of them were like really drama issues with the teams that made them really awful to play with. Some of them were just I just was too good of a coach for the level of team. Um, so that's why I was saying expect the team hopping to happen. Don't worry about it. If you find that the
Yeah.
team that you're with is not challenging you and they're not as serious about it, you know, you got good practice, you got some scrims, it was fun, got some communicational practice. Move on, move
Sure.
on.
Okay.
Yeah, don't treat it as like, oh, this is my team. I think the best way of looking at it is I would treat until you find a team where you feel you get along with people and that feels very competitive. Do not treat your team. Let's put it this way: treat the team play as selfish. Be very selfish. Be a good teammate. Be respectful, but treat it as like this. You guys are just tools to help me to practice my scrim time.
That makes sense. Yeah,
Because if
I've
you're the
also
best, yeah, if you're the best player in the team, then it just you got to move on. You know, like
it,
they're just tenuous, right? They're not professionals, so it's treating it like it's a professional thing is just going to lead you to get frustrated.
yeah, it's also weird because when you're with them for a couple of months and it's like I don't want to play with you guys anymore because I'm not getting any better, I'm not learning anything. But it's like I've built like kind of relationships with these people, and it's like I feel bad
Yeah,
if I leave them now. It's
yeah,
like
yeah. Be
yeah, I fall
respectful
into
about
that.
it. It's hard, but be respectful and be considerate. But be like, hey, my end goals are here. I'm going to go ahead and try out for the next thing. And you know, some of them may take it a little bit, but if you're a respectful person and you're kind and considerate, then I've never had any team I left take it hard. You're on a mission, right? So I think like as long as you're not burning people along the way, if anything, if you're more competitive than they are, it was probably a better learning experience for them than it was for you. So you've done them a favor, right?
All right.
So don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And I will also say as well, I would recommend trying out for as many teams as you can. Because that was one thing that really helped for me is I would try out coaching with like 10 teams, maybe not that many, but like 6 or 7 teams. And let's say 3 or 4 of them were interested. I would then take my pick. And usually that helps you to make a better decision about which one you think is going to be more competitive, more interesting, less
Yeah,
toxic, and so on.
and I've looked like just scouting out. There's very few tank. That might be hard to do just because there's so very few. Because most teams are built around a tank,
Mm-hmm.
and so there's very few teams at that level that I want, and there's very few teams that want a tank at the level
Yeah, yeah,
I'm at. So
yeah, yeah. It's
it's
hard. Yeah, it's hard, but I mean, it's worth putting some time in. You know, even if it's like I'm not 100%. It's not like I can still be grinding rank while I'm trying out and looking for teams. You know, like once a week, scroll through the discords. You know the ones, and you know put your LFT in Twitter or whatever, and just see what happens. And if you know over the course of maybe a month, maybe 2 months, you might find something that lines up.
Okay, you said I know the ones, but
competitive Overwatch. Overwatch University, Elo Hell, which you're already in, I see. Open Division. Are you in the Open Division Discord as well?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, let me write them down.
Explore. Okay. So you know how you can search for Discord servers through the function at the bottom left, right? Explore public servers. Do you know how to do that?
No.
Watch.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and then you just type in at the top. Actually, I just had this conversation with my previous coaching session. Actually. Like, type in Open Division. There you go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Competitive Overwatch, Open Division. What were the other?
Overwatch University.
Okay.
Probably more lower tier teams with Overwatch University, but it's worth at least a glance.
Right.
I'm sure there are others. It might be worth asking about on Twitter. If you're not able to figure anything out, message me again, remind me, and I might be able to post on Twitter myself and ask if there are any other Discords, and I'll send them your way. Just remind me. Are you in the OW as well?
I'm in Overwatch 2 Discord, yeah.
Are you in the OW, though? Have you ever heard of the OW, the original, like, Slashers Discord?
I have not.
Okay. Remind me, I might be able to get you an invite as well to there. That was the original, like, pro Overwatch Discord where, like, teams for like Owl and everything like that. It's kind of dead now, but people still do recruitment and stuff like that. There's a lot of like tier 2 players and stuff like that. So that one would be a good shout out as well. So type the OW and I will get in touch with them because I know a lot of the mods. It's kind of a dead server, but I know a lot of the mods. I'll probably be able to get you an invite.
Okay. Sorry, I'm kind of using your chat as a
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I will to get you an invite in the OW. I will need like screenshots of like your career profile later on and all that stuff. Though.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
But I think you meet the parameters. Okay. Any other questions?
No, I think that's all.
Okay, shoot me a code. Let's take a look.
Sure. And you mentioned, I had a few good games, like close games where I thought I was playing decent.
It doesn't matter.
And then they all disappeared from the page.
That's okay. I would focus on either just whatever game, or if you have a game where you feel like you were a little bit lost as to what to do, those are helpful as well.
Yeah, this wasn't like a super close game, but there were areas where I did get punished for a few things. I should have gotten punished for a few things. I know I wasn't completely aware of what to do at all times.
Mm-hmm. Like, hey, this is a stacked lobby.
A little bit.
Wait.
What's up?
No shot. This is. Are these all the players?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I was like, this is a stacked lobby, and I'm like, wait a second. For a split second, I thought this was a scrimmage for like a split second. Yeesh. Okay. I don't know who Kiki or Danny is, but everybody else.
Kiki is duoed with Space. I looked after.
Okay. Do you just Sigma throughout the VOD?
I do play Sigma, yeah.
Okay.
He's kind of my... I play him the most.
Okay, sounds good.
Most versatile.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do something that I almost never do in reviews, and I'm going to assume that you already know how to play Sigma. You already understand the play style difference. So what I'm going to do is then we're going to play the VOD. I'm going to point out mistakes as I see them. And if I say something that goes, well, wait a second, are you sure? Then I want you to say something to me, because then you might have a misunderstanding of like the fundamentals that we need to kind of revisit. You kind of see what I'm saying?
And I know I made mistakes, so there'll be a few.
Of course. But I like pointing out mistakes specifically that have to do with. I mean, obviously, there's some bad habits like how you position or how you use your cooldowns, but it might be some fundamental playstyle stuff that you might have a misunderstanding of as well. Space is at least was one of the best Sigmas in the game.
Oh yeah, he's crazy. He had a really nice rock. You'll see it later.
I think he and Kaluj were probably the best Western Sigmas.
They're kind of who I look at to kind of improve.
Yeah.
I'm just
so this is a minor thing. I think you need to be aware of this. You need to be very attentive to, especially as a tank player, to the concept called the line, which is essentially where your team is taking a fight. So the problem with this shield is it's basically allowing enemies who are not engaged on your team to be doing something. So right now, UV isn't really doing anything, but he can break shield. Meanwhile, who on your team is actually getting value out of this shield right now?
Maybe just Lip and I.
Just Lip and you. Now, by getting value out of the shield, I don't mean peeking behind the shield. I mean who's actually engaged, right? Because actually, Danny is getting value out of the shield too. Do you see this?
Sure, because now Ultraviolet's looking at the shield. And
right. The problem here is that both of your supports are not getting value out of the shield, right? So maybe this was a response to seeing Danny pushing aggressively, but optimally, when would you want to shield here for being like super nitpicky?
Oh, time and aggression.
Right, set, now, right? See, this shield makes sense because now we actually have basically our entire team engaged at the same time. Do you see that? So the reason why this is so important is this is something that Kaluj and coincidentally Space were really good at, especially in maps like Circuit Royale, where they would, the way you lose a shield war is doing what you're doing right now.
Yep.
Instead, you know that there's no real lethal threat besides Sigma. Take the damage. Just spam them.
I think I was a little bit, I don't know if antsy is the right word, but I wanted to be doing something immediately and...
Right, but that's the problem. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Every hero is a dive tank in Overwatch, right? Every hero is a dive tank. And by that I mean plays are on specific timings, right? And you need to keep yourself disciplined here because I want this shield to be full when you turn the corner. Now, funnily enough, Space is doing what he should. You see this? He's griefing. You see this?
Yeah,
he's griefing.
He's trolling the game. He just no barrier.
So he's going to lose this shield trade, and if we look at his POV, bang, and even that right there, bang. You see his HP, right? What did his team get out of that?
Zero.
Even his shift was forced, right? So don't do what Space did.
All right, don't be Space. Got it.
Don't be Space, right? That guy sucks at the game.
I'm not sure what I could have done. It's kind of maybe rotate back to help with the...
I would say rotate back to help because of the fact that this Sonic is giving you no squishies to shoot. Do you see this? There is nobody here, so there's no point in shooting here. So rotate back and mark this here.
Yeah, I felt like if I walk there, I was going to immediately get blown up. Especially
don't walk here. Shield and shoot here.
Because there's a Widow up left as well, and so it's like I turn my back, I get...
So then control the Widow. You see what I'm saying? Do one or the other. Either control the Widow earlier. Wouldn't have stopped your Hanzo from dying. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
Or shield Widow, whatever, ignore Widow, play corner here, and control this here. The mistake here, even though it doesn't really change how this fight goes, is this moment of indecision here.
Okay.
And even this shot here is it's worthless, right? There's nobody here.
I swung out too wide without realizing what was happening.
Sure. But I agree with you in terms of the result of the fight. It doesn't matter. But obviously that's not really our focus, right? We don't care about the result of the fight. We care about the habits that you may have that you need to break. It's the same thing with that shield, right? You made the mistake. Space made it worse, but I don't care. Your job is not to diff Space. Your job is to be a better player.
Okay.
Like even here, like Space is trolling.
It's just taking so much
right now you're trolling because you have went from here to where you can take an advantageous trade with Space to just standing here to where now you have 1-2, I guess UV as well, and just Danny helping you, right? So you're now taking a resource trade, which means, and remember when you're playing with a Baptiste, Astro can always be doing things besides healing you, right? So there's no point. Even the shield usage, right? Why?
There wasn't. I'm just,
right. Right. That means that you have to wait an extra 5 seconds to rotate or 5 seconds to push, right? Like you're talking about a hero that's like, there's obviously bursts of value when it comes to like your rock and your positioning and things like that. But a lot of it is just taking, it's like Mercy of supports where you're taking good cooldown trades consistently and giving yourself slight time, slight cooldown, slight HP advantages consistently over and over and over again. Even like shooting the right targets, right? Like right now, obviously you lose Sam for a second, but knowing Sam means that priority on Sam, even just a volley, is significantly higher return investment. You should back off as well here, to be honest.
Yeah. If he broke barrier and then rocked me, I would have been dead. And yeah, I will get punished for that.
Okay. I like this rotation. It's a good try. Not a lot you can do here. Just don't stagger further. Okay. No shield. As soon as you throw the shield there, you're like, okay, I'm not getting anything here. Rotate out. No, it's a game of inches, really. Now, this is really important. Your positioning is going to allow you to get better return on investment for your damage in space. Because you're going to be able to actually, or I guess it would be even, because you can actually access squishies without having to worry about Sigma anymore, right? Yep. So I like the position, but again, the question comes down to, is now a good time for you to peak? Look at your backline. This is a trick question.
Lip isn't, okay, Tracer is on the Widow, so yes.
Yes.
But only ideally Lip would be also on an
ideally, right? And this is where the discrepancies between ranked and like scrims comes into play, whereas this would have been communicated better and coordinated better, but it wasn't. So you have to make a really important decision right now. What's more important, to is distract the enemy backline so that Danny gets the kill on Kevster, or to wait for Lip?
It just no.
I think so too. I think so too. And the reason why that's important, though, is because if you were able to respond to this and were paying attention to your Tracer, which you should be, by the way.
Which I wasn't.
You weren't, and that's the problem, right? Then what's the problem right now then? Because the timing of what you're doing is good, but is this optimal for you to be here?
With my knowledge, with the knowledge that I had, this was incorrect play.
Right.
Go
ahead. Continue.
So I should have been watching what the rest of my team was. Yes. I should have been looking, one, where my Tracer was, and two, whether my Widow was peaking.
And the funny thing is because you weren't looking at your Tracer, you probably actually did not go aggressive enough. Because if you look at this shield here, this shield is not good. This shield should be here.
It is misplaced, yeah.
You need to be shooting Baps in. And this shield will not allow you to shoot Baps in. I mean, it will, but your shield is at 430 and you are not.
I think I tapped it there specifically because I thought I was going to be peeking and then backing off immediately, but because I wasn't aware that my Tracer was in.
We can get more into like the micro of like ult play as well, because I think it's actually very important in this composition. I actually have I'm gonna send you a video. You're getting the leaks. I have an edited video that I haven't released yet about double sniper macro that talks a lot about Sigma. And I'm going to send it to you. I have it timestamped as well, so if you want to skip around to the Sigma parts, you can. Where is it? Yes, here it is. Okay, so it's unlisted now because I haven't posted it yet. But you can skip through all the timestamps, the Sigma stuff. Talks a little bit about the ult eco, which might be helpful to you. Okay. So
all right, thanks.
Appreciate it. No problem. Because I worked with the top 500 team on double sniper macro and circuit, and we talk a lot about like when flux is a good time. If it comes up, we'll definitely talk about it, but that will give a little bit more specific discussion.
Okay.
Now, I hope to goodness that you're paying attention to fill in the blank.
My Tracer.
Your Tracer. Right. And this is important. Obviously, Tracer is one of the more egregious examples because she's a very, very in and out kind of a hero. But even if this was like a Cassidy, like if you see your Cassidy like here, you need to know that. Like you need to be enabling your Cassidy by causing a big ruckus with your shield and spam so that he can work here, right? Or Widowmaker, like when your Widowmaker goes for a grapple shot, if you're able to kind of even just listen and hear that, that's your opportunity, right? Everything's about micro plays. Now you can be the enabler, you be the one that's starting the push, like first fight, right? Or you can respond to what your DPS are doing. And a lot of the times as tank, it's actually the latter, right? It's actually responding to what your DPS are doing. Because like right now, is this a good time for you to be spamming?
Yep.
Yes, right? We give ourselves context, Zen angle, Widow angle, Bap angle, and you're actually enabling Danny to get a kill here. Now this is good because now actually Danny is the one responding to your dive, not the other way around. And that's optimal because you're built for punishment. She's not. So I'm thinking that this will probably force trance or lamp. You were the one responding to Danny earlier, but I like it the other way around if you can. But you can only know that if you know where she's positioned ahead of time. You go, I see my tracer. She's ready. I'm going to set her up, right?
Okay.
And so I think this will work nicely.
Or lip headshots.
But it's the same result, right? Because if we look at UV, right, this is a good time. You've enabled your Sigma to walk forward. He's worried about Zen. And then also if we look at, it's not just that. Let's see what happens here. There it is, right? Look, this forces the Zen, who's literally 1 HP out of the corner, right into Lip's LOS. You set this one up. It's a boring, boring fight. But you did your job. Nice work. She's out.
I wanted this.
Yeah,
I wanted this.
Yeah. I mean, it's Kevster. Who doesn't? This is really good, though, by the way. Right here. Very important you do this. Because obviously the Sigma trade is the least important thing for you, right? Again, it's just one of the situations where you take the Sigma trade because he's the guy in the way, right? But if you if you can just like let your team deal with Sigma, but you prevent them from walking forward, this is more important. You check, there's nobody here. You know there's nobody here. Win the Sigma trade. Very nice. Now, normally this would be feeding, but there's people in spawn. And you know Danny was just recently with you. Now, get out of here. Yep. ASAP. Take high ground. Right? Surely. Because it's that careful line between pushing staggers and taking space.
I stayed down here too long.
You stay here too long. Right. The target priority is really good. You're getting great pressure out of the targets you're shooting, but you should have rotated high. Should have rotated high. You earned the right to rotate high. You got the stagger kill. Yes, it's going to mean a little bit of downtime, but that means that your time is going to be invested so much better. Because you know that Kevster is not going to be back in time, right, for you to prevent the 5v4, even with your rotation. By the way, you're doing a great job with your resource management here. So the shield, very reasonable, given your team's positioning, right, and the fact that this is happening at the same time, right? Target priority. Perfect. Any volley on Zen completely scuffs. You win the shield trade by shooting Zen, not Sig, right? Then here, who's
my team?
Who's a threat to you right now?
No one.
Nobody.
No one.
It's just Sigma. You don't need to shield Sigma, right? So here you don't even need to use your shield. You just take the rock. Who cares? And then you see that's going to force his shift because he's breaking the line that we talked about earlier, right? Because Danny's threatening Kevster, and also nobody except Space can see your team. So of course he's going to get his shield broken and shift forced.
Yeah, and here's my gold mechanics. Unlucky. That was such a big rock.
Do you know what? I can live with that. You made the right decision. And that forced back window. Now you could just LOS. Don't even peek. So really, really nice job. Oh, by the way here, what should you be doing?
Be on high ground.
You should take the high ground. Back window, can't peek, rotate back.
Yep.
Right? Now this is you trolling. Look at your shield. Right?
Yeah.
Lip and Danny are about to engage, so you will be rotating forward, but for crying out loud, don't do it until you rotate forward. Hug here, 3, 2, 1, push, rotate out, right? And engage.
Yeah. I think I was just looking at pushing cart and not thinking about timings for engagements.
Yep. Like I said, every hero's a dive hero, and then, jeez. Where were you?
not helping my lip.
Not helping your angle, right? Not helping your DPS. Okay. So, really, truly, lots of great things about your Sigma, which makes sense, right? You're at this rank for a reason. It's not a surprise, but room for improvement, obviously. Okay, it's good use of your downtime. Just bounce back and forth. I do wonder if you could shield and rotate to here and control this space here, but I'm honestly not sure if you get punished there or not. Rotate. Yes. Poor Kevster.
Yeah, I was not the reason we won this match. But
Yeah.
I know that.
Now, this is where we get nuance to high heaven, okay? Because you have taken a good position and now have a good target. But what is the potential problem with this right now? Think dive tank again. Is there a trade happening right now elsewhere?
No.
Kind of just now, right now. So is now a good time to do what you're doing right now? Yes, but only just now. Do you kind of see what I'm saying? Like you are right now controlling Zen, Bap, and Widow. But you were not doing, that was not necessary until like right now, this is a bad trade. This is a bad trade. This
until Space walked up, it wasn't good.
Right. Until Space walked up and or the cart turned the corner, it was a bad trade. And you can see that because look at your HP. There's 100 HP going, right? And what did it cost them? Nothing, right? Nothing. So the optimal thing would have been to do what here? Dive tank.
Walk right side first.
Just chill.
See if Sigma's walking up. If not, then we can
and you don't even need information from your Sigma. You can also just look at your team, look at your cart. Oh, we're getting spam walked, right? And then even the position that you're at now is totally fine. Can't help with that. This is good. Like I said, we're not as concerned about what's going to win the fight. Nice rock. We're just concerned about what's the better habit as a whole. Now, I'm kind of curious. Kevster might have just like a god angle on you, but like, it sucks that we had to drop. I mean, I don't think we had to drop.
I was under the impression that we were losing.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't think that.
Flux take high. Flux take high. Honestly, because you're just going to get trance anyway, so you're thinking like, yeah, you're egoing this. Just Flux Sigma. Okay, so this goes into the VOD that I just sent you. When Sigma doesn't have shift, you're going to force trance. So you need to flux the Sigma right here. And then you use it to force trance and to take high. Right? Then you win this fight. Make sense?
I think, yeah. Two things I'm worried about. I have half health and then also rock. I don't know if I can see rock.
But you don't need to worry about rock if you pull it and you pull up to top here, right? Anyway, right? You don't even need to shoot the Sigma. You're gonna force trance. He doesn't have a shift. And this is like, ooh. I mean, it works because of this, but again, what did you know that this was happening?
I didn't know.
Right.
This last point here, I trolled pretty hard.
Oh, Danny dies. That's not Danny from Washington or whatever, is it? Or who's the?
I have no idea. I can probably look at the profile if you want.
It doesn't matter. I honestly don't even know if he plays the game. Good.
I was under the impression that my Tracer would win this duel, so I didn't throw rocks.
I mean, I don't think you're trolling this that badly, to be honest. I think I just would have liked to have seen a flux that you could control space sooner.
That was a really nice rock.
Yeah, it was a nice rock, but yeah, to control space sooner, no pun intended. Yeah, so what are you seeing so far as being not what would have won us the map, but what are habits and skills that you need to develop further?
I'm not paying attention to my teammates.
Yeah,
not enough.
It's the dive timings. It's the dive timings that are as a result of not paying attention to your DPS. Not just your DPS, obviously, but DPS supports whatever. Is my support able to take this trade with me? Is my DPS set up? And the good news about this is that it is obviously applicable to every tank. The problem with Sigma is that you have ranged poke and you have cooldowns that feel like you can use them whenever you want, but that's a false impression, obviously. You need to be not like psychotic about like conserving your cooldowns and never ever spamming unless your team is ready, but you do need to kind of factor that into whether it's worth it peeking or using your shield. Make sense?
Yeah.
And like you said, I think that is a symptom of you not being aware of where your team is positioned. That's the skill that you need to build. And then anything besides that?
Well, you said before like flux timings.
Sure.
Maybe I could have seen that opportunity.
Sure. Taking space on the third point as well.
And understanding like you need to get on high ground there. Like so it's not like a I don't know.
More of
I
a
was
niche thing, but
yeah.
I would pay attention to some of your other VODs maybe and see if that's something that sometimes you kind of forget to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Fat Brig.
Whip was spamming in X chat for me to put the, the shield there.
I mean,
All
yeah,
caps.
it's like you might as well. You'll get it back by the time you actually take a proper trade, right? So this is just corny cheese. Maybe get the kill. Who knows? And like even this here, right? It's fine as long as you don't take too much HP.
I should die here. You'll see in a moment. I make a pretty big mistake.
Now here is where you are kind of the fight's kind of starting ish, but this is really stupid. Like look at your Tracer, look at your Widow, right? What are you doing? the initial little bit of spam, the shield for lip, totally fine, but everyone's not okay. All right, let's get upset for the proper fight, and you're just like, all right, guys, we're just like, no. Look at we're playing this corner here, especially with the Brig too. Like your Brig is really good at controlling like these short sightline angles. You can't do this. Even if you don't die here, you're going to be at such a massive cooldown disadvantage and HP disadvantage that you're going to allow them to push this corner with an HP advantage.
Yeah, I just get lucky.
Oh, and we're down our shift. Like, this isn't even luck. You're already at a disadvantage. You've already had your cooldowns forced. This is atrocious. And then even here, it's just a little earlier, right? Like, wait, now would be a good time to go, right? Because space has turned the corner on Danny. So you need to be, like, hard spamming UV. Or hard spamming space. Yeah, see, this is good, right? Because, like, look at the Widow. Widow's like, ah, crap, I gotta peek over here, right? Zen's not allowed to play here. Bap is controlled at this angle. Space is kind of stuck in a choke. This is fine. If you guys are playing this one optimally, I actually don't think Danny should be playing here. I think Danny should start here, then he can wrap around with Brig from this angle here. But obviously that's not really your concern, so. See, like, even though your shield, I mean, you shouldn't have let your shield break, but, like, it got value, right? Like, it's fine. I don't know why you dropped. Should have just stayed here, right? Just stay here. Okay, why stay here? What does this allow you to do that the corner does not as easily?
Well, I mean, I can keep spamming backline.
Right, exactly. You get better target priority. That's all.
Yeah, again, the reason I dropped is because I wanted to keep shooting, and so I can peek without getting headshot by the Widow if I drop behind the corner, but I shouldn't have.
You still could get headshot by Widow.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you're right. Maybe you're right.
The difference here is at least if the Widow headshots you, you can maybe headshot her back, or
yeah, headshot her back on Sig.
Yeah, exactly. You just have to aim better with Sigma. If you
that is true.
That's an aim problem. But yeah,
like I said, that's kind of my problem. I've never hit a headshot on Sig.
That's true. But you can kind of see the issue here. It's like you're still getting shot by Babson. You know, you could be controlling UV better. Like spaces. I don't know what Astro is doing, honestly. Astro's making the same mistake that you are. Astro should stop. Like, who cares about space on the corner? We don't care. Let him stand here. What's he gonna do? Walk out to here out in the open? Yes, then butcher him. But it doesn't matter. Like, you don't need to be actively swinging on him. You can control, like, the short sightline angles here. Like, this is, like, again, like, if you're here, you're shooting UV and Sam and Kiki. Like, oh my days. Yeah. Like, look at this, right? But you're not. You're playing a shield war. And not only that, but now Danny's actually not engaged at all. So this is not only not playing to your strengths as a target priority, right, in terms of shooting backline. In terms of dive tank, this is also an issue, right?
Yeah.
Just look at Astro, Babel, Danny. You're going to lose this shield trade. And there it is. Now, was that your fault?
I think partially.
Partially, yes.
Because he wanted to come out to help me.
Right. Give me 1 second. Okay, I'm just letting that do this. But exactly, like, you shouldn't have even been here. You should have just been go right back up here, let your Brig, I mean, honestly, like, let Brig control this, or Brig push with you up here, and, like, there's just no reason for you to be, and, like, now it's fine because Danny was on backline. But even here, it's like, you're here, very aggressive, Danny's recall out, then you need to back off at the same time. Very winnable, though. Yes. Danny's in, you're in, and you are also shooting the right targets as well. This is good. This is really good. So this is, I mean, again, you're a good Sigma player. You are doing the right things 85% of the time.
But if I want to be semi-pro or pro,
Yep.
It needs to be 90, 95.
Yep. And what we're talking about is will never not be important, right? It will always be a fundamental of Overwatch, really for every hero. Team play, all that kind of stuff. Shield here.
Nope.
Absolutely not, right? Your DPS is not doing anything, so any spam that you do here is ego spam. So if you want ego spam, probably LOS their Hanzo or the Zen or whatever, and just spam spaces.
I could have done the same thing without wide peeking here.
Exactly. Just win the shield trade, because even Space's shield here is not good, right? Like his DPS are also not engaged. So, you know, shoot his shield. Don't give up your shield, because like this Kiki is taking 0 risk and getting free cooldown value, right? Shouldn't be, because like right now you need shield. You need shield. Like you.
I was like, right? I thought he was gonna fly up in the air there.
Right, but you can't even peek your own flux.
Yeah. Yeah. I see what you mean.
Yeah. The good news is that this is a very simple thing. It like I always say, it's simple, but it's not easy, because it is a very minutia thing that's like even right now, like every time that you peek this here, like even here, right? Is this good?
No.
Probably not.
Well, yeah, yes, until I throw my shield up.
Right. Like you have to be even careful about the amount of spam that you're taking right now. So it's like it's very psychologically intensive, right? It's going to take a lot of focus for you to be able to do this one well, but it is rewarding when you do. Like right now, this is obviously good because they've broken the line, right? Now it's more about, is this the best position for you to shoot what you want to shoot? And I would say the answer is probably no. You would want to be along here again.
And I'm also down 300 barrier HP.
Exactly. Now, this is good. Why? You're breaking the line, but something else is happening, isn't it?
Because Sig is trolling.
Sig has broken the line as well, right? Yeah. So you can respond by either spamming space out or going, you guys kill space, I'm gonna kill the backline, right? So this is very good. This is very good, and it makes sense. My question is it gonna be backline that dies first or space?
Backline.
Right. I mean, but it really could have been either, right?
Right.
You did. Yeah. This is good. This is good. I would ignore space, honestly. Like I would straight up ignore space. Make sure that these guys can't follow up. Again, it's about like your just return on investment. Because honestly, like Danny might die. I'm scared for Danny. You see, Danny gets a little bit sweaty because you should have been helping him on backline. If backline was like Moira Lucio, Kiriko Lucio, like probably better to just focus Sigma. But yeah. Ego, right? This is fine. Just as long as you have your resources back by the time the fight starts. I mean, really, space is making the same issue that we've been talking about with you, right? But and again, here, just stop shooting space. Stop shooting space. Yes. And you can see it every time space does this. Look at his resources. You see, his shield just completely tanks. Now you're egoing here. Did you know where your Genji was?
Likely did not know.
You have a very brief amount of downtime to where you can check these things, because what you're doing now is objectively the correct play because of this, but you didn't know that. You need to know that.
I think just maybe it's luck, but also maybe it's just like I'm not thinking about why it's good. Like just intuitive, like I can see the way the fight is going and I'm going there, but I'm not actively thinking about and I should be actively thinking about, but I'm not actively thinking about why that is. That
you need to be actively thinking about it until you don't have to actively think about it anymore, until it becomes instinct. You should aim to be an instinctual player, but you might have to play catch up with some of your instincts. Every player does, right? Like every player in this lobby got good probably without a coach's help, but for them to function at the highest level as a team, all of them have needed a little bit of feedback, either from other players, from their coaches, or from even just their own self-reflection, right? Yep. And then you do that until you no longer have to think again, and then you go into these ranked games or these scrims or these matches, and you don't think, you just react.
Okay.
But right now, your reaction isn't quite good enough, right? Your instincts aren't good enough, and that's what needs to change. Ego, right? Even you see the ego peak, you peak this is too early, right? They're about to fight, and you lose 200 HP, costs you your shield. I mean, this is okay now, but you should be at 500 HP.
Sig 9.
Get rolled. That's hilarious.
So what do you think, Tankdiff?
Wait, what'd you say?
Tankdiff?
Oh, for sure. I really do think you played well. I don't think Space diffed this game at all, which is saying something considering the level of player that he is. I think he played well. I mean, it's only one game, but I think he played very well. He was making some of the same mistakes that you were making, but I really like the way you're positioning yourself for the most part. I liked your target party for the most part. Cooldown usage was pretty reasonable, but I mean, okay. Do you have any questions?
I don't think so.
Okay, so let's establish some goals. Not many of them for you, right? Only a couple of them. So what needs to be improved on? Let's just say for tank. I mean, I'm going to put Sigma here, but it might be something that's probably also representing itself in your Diva play and Rhine and so
on. Aggression time. It's like understanding like DPS, where my DPS are, when I should be peeking, when I should not, when I should be engaging with the enemy, when I should not.
Either peak when they are pressuring or when they can pressure. Because there's a lot of the time it's generally better for you to go first, but you need to go first when they can actually do something. Remember the second point attack with Tracer setup, right? I don't want you to wait for Tracer to go in for you to use your shield and spam. You're built to take the damage, but you need to make sure that she can go in, right? The problems were here is you were peaking when your DPS really had no way of doing anything. So that needs to be, and so you're putting yourself at a resource disadvantage, and I think that's the other way. Now, you can also be very attentive to, sometimes you might have, like, let's say that Tracer on the backline, a very aggressive DPS who wants to kind of be the tank, wants to be the tempo setter. Let's say you're playing with a Sombra, something like that, a DPS flank Moira. You can and should play around their timing, but it's also just a good habit just to be aware of where those aggressive angles are, so to make sure. And even just knowing where your backline is behind you. So like, let's say you had you had like your entire team stacked up behind you. If I turn this corner as Sigma and throw shield, will you guys be able to trade with their shield? Right? Just asking yourself that question. That one was a big one in Circuit Royale back in the day in Overwatch League, because you couldn't really take a lot of angles, especially in the first point. You had to be kind of grouped up 3, 2, 1, turn the corner, right?
Is that still a good position for Sigma by the Lambo? Like first point defense circuit.
Well, okay, here. A lot of the times, let me stream again.
Because I had a big player telling me not to play there.
Let's talk about that really fast. I mean, it's a garbage map, to be honest with you. But
I mean, Junkertown circuits, Dorado, all these maps.
I mean, the problem with Circuit is it's just so linear, narrow. You know what I'm saying? Like there isn't a lot of nuance to it at all, and so it's because of that. So tell me what you were thinking. What spots in particular?
First point, right there, black car.
This car? Yeah. So you're playing here to get like early ego spam. But if you think about it from like a defenders versus attackers advantage, especially if you're in a sniper composition, there is no advantage to holding high ground, really, as opposed to holding over there.
Because I was thinking it's a little bit easier as well to control them from getting up staircase. Because if they're up staircase, then we're going to lose high ground anyway.
Yes, but what's the advantage of high ground in a sniper duel?
High ground is I can shield my snipers, right?
Right, but how long can you hold that? So you're saying you play on the high ground to shield your snipers?
No, I mean, like it's a little bit easier to time my peaks with my snipers instead of looking behind me and then throwing up shield. But there's no advantage to actually being on high ground. That's like,
right. I can tell you right now that in Overwatch League, teams would start here, but with the intention of that we're going to rotate to this corner here. Because the defender's advantage from this high ground is so weak, if even there at all, that people would just play here for like a few seconds, and then Sigmas would hold here because it was an easy rotate out. Right?
Okay.
And then once you get here, well, now you have a big corner advantage, right? Because their Sigma has to go 3, 2, 1, explode around the corner. Their snipers have to either peek here, which means you can spam them, right? Or here, which you can also spam them, right? Meanwhile, your DPS, your snipers can play here, or here or here, right? So this corner is where you start to have a little bit of a defender's advantage. So usually that's why you would start here, is not because this position is particularly OP for you. It's just a safe rotation for you out to the real defender's advantage.
Okay.
Now in ranked, teams might try and hard hold this high ground. Let's say you're playing like a Mei or like a Torb or something like that. You guys might actually like take a fight here, right? But if it's like sniper duel, generally you're gonna want to be rotating from here to this next corner, where you actually have like a corner's advantage, where you're gonna win the shield trade every time. And there's also this here, which is really OP.
Right, because they cross the line. I don't need to.
They have to be so incredibly disciplined when they turn this corner, and even if they are, they're still at a disadvantage. Meanwhile, you guys can actually take like slight off angles. You have a really good corner. Your spam like hits anything you want. You can literally shoot any squishy that you want from here. And then obviously if things go south, you also have another easy rotation to another position here. And again, you have a slight defender's advantage. Like your snipers can be all the way over here. They could be up in this high ground. It's still really rough for defenders. So it's just circuit in a nutshell. It's like this one spot is baits people into playing it here, but it's really not that good. So what was the Brig saying?
She was telling, I was playing on by the Lambo, and she was telling me she thought she kept spamming that I was an idiot for not playing high ground on Sigma.
No, yeah, you really shouldn't be playing high ground in Sigma because your shield's not going to last long enough to where your backline can even use it.
So I was telling them they were silly, and they were also like all chatting to the enemy Sigma.
Yeah. You're doing this here just to kind of control their backline a little bit, and then be able to safely rotate out. Yeah, I mean, what you do most of the time, I think this is probably pretty reasonable. There's nothing really wrong with it. So yeah, the guy's kind of an idiot.
Okay, I wasn't sure because I saw you watching like some professional scrims. I think it was Kaluge. You were watching Kaluge's Sigma, and he was playing there, and you said that they were playing there, but that was like a couple months ago, so I'm not sure.
No, it's fine. I mean, I wouldn't say this is bad because you can get some shield value out of this here, but it might be better to just start here just in terms of because like what if they're playing Ryan, right? Like you would like to be getting early and often spam, right, on the rotation, right? Yeah, I see no inherent significant advantage about holding high ground at all, to be honest.
Okay.
I don't really see it, to be honest with you. So it's probably better to like at least slow down the rotation and still have a safe rotation for yourself. Okay. Any other questions?
No, that's good.
Okay. Aggression timings with peaking either shield when they're pressuring or the can pressure. So that would be awareness of DPS supports. I swear we talked about something else. Target priority, taking space, not spam tank, AFK, first point defense, third point attack, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, just better return on investment. It was something that you were doing well, 75% of the time, but could have been done a lot better. Anything else that you saw? I think that was mostly it for me.
Yeah, the ego peaking. Or I guess that's the first point.
First one, really, yeah. Just an interpretation of the first one, yeah.
Okay, I can't think of much else.
I can't either. Don't forget the mechanics thing that I think would be something to do. Is obviously you should be practicing whether your mechanics are good or whether they're not. But if you have a streak of bad mechanics, remember, you still practice, you still train, you still improve. You develop fundamentals so that when your mechanics come back in, you're 1% more confident on everything, so it just hits that much higher, right? Don't worry about it. You just don't waste that time. Use it as a productive training,
Right. And what screenshots do you need for the Overwatch?
I think your battle tag in match chat, or just in all chat, just like put it in with a screenshot of your career profile at the same time. Okay. So just type your battle tag in chat and like in the window on your BattleNet window though. So like you'd go like here. You do like I'm fixing to rank shame myself. I don't even care. This is what you do.
Oh.
You'd be like this, You see?
Oh, yeah, I see.
Yeah, that's what you do, and then you out yourself as a master's trash can.
So do I need to do that? Because because yesterday I was top 100 and then I threw a bunch of games. I'm still top 500.
I think it's top 500 is fine. I think top 500 is totally fine. So yeah, you don't need to worry about it. But yeah, I'm actually not sure what the requirements are, but it's definitely top 500 is definitely good enough. Yeah. Oh, in terms of the flux, the ultimate usage stuff, there's some micro stuff as well, but that video I sent you will answer basically everything. But it kind of goes into what I was talking about, like forcing Sigma shift, lifting the Sigma, And then if you can avoid Sigma. If he does have shift. Going for backline is always better, especially with snipers, because you can get one shots through trance. But if you're not able to get the snipers because they're too far, then or supports, then going for Sigma needs to be trying to force his shift first. Because if he has shift, they don't even need to lamp him, because he'll get so much HP from being shot when he's lifted.
And that's talked about in the video you sent me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
All
a couple other things as well. But yeah,
All right.
definitely check that one out. All right, mate. If you have any questions, let me know. You also have